Hey everyone. Today we're going to be talking about truth and honesty. And these are two teachings that will bring harmony, balance, intimacy, and clarity to your life. And when you falter from truth and you falter from honesty, you will find that your life fills with darkness, with chaos, with bad luck, and it may seem as if a curse has been placed upon you. So, these teachings are some of the foundations and cornerstones of the spiritual path, of the path of love, the path of awakening, the path of being a true human being and your authentic self. And these are two of the teachings that I share in my work with people. I share 7 ancient teachings to create a strong spiritual foundation with those I work with and to help them bring harmony, balance, intimacy, and closeness to their relationships with themselves, with the Creator, with the earth, and with each other. And as I'm speaking this now, there's 2 eagles flying overhead. Very beautiful. Yeah, wow. Oh, and it just landed on the tree here. I'm going to show you guys. I don't know if you can see it, but just right up here, an eagle has landed. The eagle has landed. So that's really blessed. And it just shows the power of our words, the power of these teachings. Those of you who have worked with me before may realize that the eagle sits in the east where truth is. So this is a very auspicious sign that these words are meant to be spoken. So all of that being said, this actually is coming through as a funny little story that I wanted to share. So my beloved Katie and I were watching a movie last night. And the movie, you may have heard of it, it's called Meet the Parents with Robert De Niro and Ben Stiller, Owen Wilson. Very funny movie, very hilarious. It's tongue-in-cheek and also just good-hearted humor. And in the movie, the basic premise is that Ben Stiller wants to marry this woman. And he's about to pop the question. And he's felt the truth of it. He's like, I'm going to marry her. She's the love of my life. And he's got this whole thing set up where he's going to ask her to marry him. He's got the ring and everything. And as he's about to ask her, she gets a phone call from her sister who's getting married. And they're talking about how her sister's husband knew to ask her dad for permission and all this stuff. So then in that moment, Ben Stiller is like, oh no, I guess I should ask her dad for permission before I ask her to marry me. And he has this moment of doubt. He has this moment of falling out of his truth to follow a conditioned truth of what he thinks he should do rather than what his heart and soul is asking him to do. So he cancels the engagement ask, he puts the ring back, and they go and visit her parents. And the whole movie is based on him wanting to get the approval and validation of her dad, Robert De Niro, and he refuses to give it to him. He gives Ben Stiller, puts him through the ringer, puts him in the hot seat. And basically, everything that can go wrong does go wrong. And it's all from Ben Stiller in the movie basically acting out of truth and being dishonest. So right away, the first moment they get to the house, a cat walks up and Robert De Niro loves this cat. He's like, oh my God, I love you. And he's just like a total cat dad. And the woman, Ben Stiller's future wife in the movie, says, oh, he hates cats. And she's talking about Ben. And Ben says, no, I don't hate cats. And right there he lies. Because he knows that the dad loves cats. And he doesn't want to be honest about his hate, basically, for cats. And right there and then, he falls out of truth and begins lying. And that sets forth the motion of many lies that are told. There's a moment where the cat goes missing, and he wants to be the savior and the savior of the day. And he goes to the place and the cat shelter and finds a cat that looks just like Lynx the cat, but it's not. And so he has to spray paint the tail of the cat a different color. And the cat was lost because he left the window open, and in trying to save the cat, he ends up causing a fire, and all this stuff happens. So basically, all this chaos ensues because he's trying to gain validation. He's not being truthful. He's not being honest. He's changing himself to be who he thinks the dad wants him to be. He's putting on a mask and he's being inauthentic. And again, it blows up in his face. Chaos ensues, darkness, doubt, uncertainty. And what ends up happening is that eventually it gets to the point where the whole family is like, leave. We don't want you here. You're out of the circle of trust. Leave. And Ben Stiller walks away with his tail between his legs, and he's at the airport. And there's finally this moment where Robert De Niro realizes he's been giving Ben such a hard time, and he's only been thinking about him, like himself, and not about his daughter, Pam. And Pam is in love with Ben. And basically, he realizes how selfish he's been as a dad, and he has this triumphant moment where in the middle of the night, he drives to the airport to get Ben, and they have this moment at the airport where they sit down and they just have truth telling. And Robert De Niro says, tell me the truth about everything I'm going to ask you. And Ben just lays it out, and he just like calls Robert De Niro out on how much of a jerk he's been, and how he wanted to marry his daughter, but now he doesn't because of him, and all this stuff. And he's just brutally honest. And in that moment, he gains the father's respect. And the father gives him his blessing to marry the daughter. The moment that Ben was just authentic, truthful, and honest. And that's really the whole moral of the story. It's very magical. Is that the moment we're honest, authentic, and truthful, the universe starts conspiring in our favor, because we now are aligned with the qualities of love, and we're aligned with our soul and our truest self. And so often in relationships, people will do this. They'll put on masks, and they'll fall farther and farther away from truth. And it always leads to chaos. It always leads to negativity. So in your relationships especially, be honest, be truthful, be authentic, and things will work out in your favor. And know that when things aren't working out, when there's chaos around you, where it feels like you have a curse, where everything you do to try to be helpful, or everything you do to try to be nice or kind or be a good person blows up in your face, that's a sign that your niceness and your goodness is not coming from truth. It's coming from somewhere else. It's coming from a conditioning. It's coming from a people pleaser. It's coming from the nice guy or the nice girl, rather than your authentic self and being. So when you move from the authentic being and from truth, the actions you take will bear good fruits. So you know that you're in truth because the fruits of your life are beautiful and sweet and delicious. Whereas when you're moving from inauthenticity, those fruits will never bear goodness in your life, and the results will be negative. So that's really the teaching that I wanted to share. It's a really beautiful example. If you haven't watched the movie, I really encourage you to go watch it. It's not only is it hilarious, but now that you're armed and equipped with this realization of truth and honesty and authenticity, when you watch this movie, it will be a beautiful example of that. And it'll help you in your life to see where you're being like Ben and where you can now step out of that. Be real, be authentic. One of my good friends always says, when you're authentic, you might not be liked by everyone or even loved by everyone, but you'll be, or no, sorry, I totally messed that up. So what my friend says is that when you're nice, you'll be liked by everyone, but loved by few. When you're authentic and truthful, and nice being like inauthentic, nice being like wearing a mask, being that guy or girl that is trying to people please. You'll be liked by everyone, but loved by few. And when you're authentic and truthful and honest, you'll be loved by some and liked by some, but not by everyone. Because authenticity is like that. It's a magnet. And so sometimes that magnet will push away others that aren't for you, and it'll magnetize others more closely. So you'll have deeper, more loving relationships. So check out the movie. Let me know your thoughts on this. Drop a comment, subscribe, like this video, like this talk. And I'd love to hear from you. What's your experience with truth and honesty and authenticity? Have a beautiful day. Thank you for watching and listening.